Let's talk about the absolute worst part about owning a Sprinter. Let's go. Welcome back, everyone. It is good to see you all. Let's get one thing straight right out of the bat. I love my Sprinter van. My Sprinter van has allowed me to do amazing things, go on amazing trips, bring my wife, bring the dogs, everyone along. We have amazing times in the Sprinter van. I love my Sprinter van. The real problem is not the van itself. If you're thinking about buying one, some things you should be aware of. The first, mechanics will just say, no, I won't work on that. I once pulled into like a Jiffy Lube in North Carolina, not even to get an oil change done, just to get an inspection, a state inspection. Boom, 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 in and out. Nope, won't do it. We can't lift it. It's too big. That was nonsense because in North Carolina, you don't have to lift this van to do an inspection on it. He also said, and I won't take any vehicle that has a solar panel on the roof because if it breaks, I'm liable. And so, yeah. So the first thing is mechanics say they can't work on it. The next thing is really part of what I ran into this week, which is I found a mechanic already here in Pennsylvania who did an oil change for me. No, he did transmission fluid change for me, and he was great, but it takes him forever because he's so busy and understaffed, and really he's working on like commercial diesel trucks, and so those guys get first priority, I get last priority. That's problem two. Here's what occurred at the end of the Maine trip. I was getting a weird sort of stuttering, shuddering thing. It wasn't that bad, but it was bad enough that it was driving me crazy. I did some research while we were stopped for the night and such, and it seemed like it was an EGR problem. What the heck does that stand for? I used to know. Exhaust gas, I don't know. So I thought it was an EGR problem. Okay. Most people just take it out, clean it, put it back in. I can do that. And it's easy to get to on this van. Then the van went into limp mode. Limp mode, if you're unaware, is the computer will not allow the van to work real hard so that if it's in a bad state, it won't damage itself worse. We went into limp mode. It would only do about 60 miles an hour. It shifted kind of weird. It wouldn't downshift. We got it home. It was fine. The next morning, I took it to my mechanic where it sat for 8 days. I sent him a couple emails, I called him a couple times, left him some voicemails, and finally he got back to me. He was like, hey, I'm sorry for the delay. This is an EGR problem. I was like, all right, I was right. But I think Mercedes will fix it for you for free because Sprinters have this EGR issue. They're replacing EGR valves for free. I called Mercedes. They're like, yes, if that is in fact what's wrong with it, we will replace it for free. Actually, we'll clean it the first time. The second time, we'll replace it for free. I'm like, great. Before I picked up my van at the first mechanic, I had to pay for it. It was $230 for them to hold it for 8 days and spend 15 minutes scanning the computer. Now, before you say, Brett, you could have scanned it yourself. You could have taken it to an AutoZone, or you can buy a code reader that plugs into the van and scan it yourself, except it's a Sprinter. Mercedes uses its own codes. They do make an aftermarket code reader that I can buy for it, but instead of it being 40 or 50 or 60 bucks, it's 600 bucks. I go get the van, bring it there. It's 30 minutes one way, it's 40 minutes the other way. I have to have my wife with me to pick me up. We drop it off. It sits for 2 more days. They call me this morning and say, yes, it is an EGR problem. Yes, we're going to clean it right now. You should be done by the end of the day. Oh, it'll be $900. I thought it was going to be free. Free! You're over 100,000 miles, so it's not covered by us. So the problem with Sprinters is not the vans themselves. The problem with Sprinters is the service. So be aware of that before you jump in and buy a Sprinter. Make sure you're comfortable with that aspect, that getting service done can be difficult. Yeah. Okay, that's where we are. At least now I can load the boat back on the roof. I can go paddling. I can do all the things that make me me. All right, I'll see you on the water.